Welcome to the quietest ones in the room with your host Trey. I gotta say it, just the fact that you've clicked onto this video and you are listening to the sound of my voice, you by far are the most intelligent people on the face of the planet. So once again, thank you for joining me. So here we are in the month of July, headed into August. And real quick, I just want to apologize for the fan noise that you hear in the background. It is really hot in North Carolina. We have a heat wave that's pushed us into the triple digits. So I need to have this fan on so I can comfortably record this video. But anyway, yes, we are in the month of July, headed into August. And I want to talk about something that I've talked about several times on this channel. And it is the idea that somehow by now we were supposed to experience a housing market crash. Where is it? Why aren't the prices dropping? Why aren't homes more affordable? Why aren't there people making enough money to capitalize on the so-called housing market crash? I've heard so many gurus over and over and over talk about a crash that hasn't happened. You have so many so-called experts that get on CNBC, Fox News, CNN, many of the major media outlets, and talk about the housing collapse that is going to ruin everything for everyone, because if you bought a house, you're likely to be underwater soon because the housing market is going to crash. And they hope that they will be able to capitalize, or they make the regular, everyday, average Joe believe that they're going to be able to capitalize on the housing market crash when it occurs. But ladies and gentlemen, as I've said before, it's not happening. There is so much wealth in this country that if you can't afford the home, there are people who will buy it. There are people buying second, third, and fourth homes. There are private investment firms that are not just in the United States, but also overseas, that purchase large amounts of properties in America if you can't afford it. You remember all this talk about the Federal Reserve making it so the average person would be able to afford a home, but yet inflation is just rising. And even though they tell us it's leveling off or it's stable, you feel it. You know what's going on. You know in your personal life, you still do not make enough to afford a home. You know in your personal life that even if you don't own a home and you rent, how challenging that is every year when your rent goes up. And you know that even if you own a home, some of us, you, are actually what's called house poor. Meaning you're living paycheck to paycheck just to have the home. And so here we are. Are the American citizens to blame? No. But you get the blame. You get the blame over and over and over again. You're told, oh, you're too lazy. You don't work hard enough. You don't think strategically. You don't make the right types of investments. You didn't go to the right school. You didn't go to school and get educated in college. The job you do is insufficient and it's not even respected. And so you have people who go online, who have millions of dollars, so-called, and they tell you that the country that you live in is going to experience a housing market collapse, which would negatively affect you, but they'll tell you they're going to be able to capitalize on it because they make smart investments. They're ahead of the curve. And a lot of these millionaires, they want you to believe that they're on your side. But in fact, they're making it more and more difficult for you. The wealthy are the ones pushing up the prices. News alert, breaking news. The wealthy are the ones causing the inflation. If you can't afford the vehicle, they can buy it at whatever price. If you can't afford the house, they can buy it at whatever price. If you can't go to Whole Foods and purchase the food, they can buy it at whatever price. Don't get caught up in this idea that there's going to be some type of housing market collapse and you will then be able to capitalize. What I've discovered in my life is that many of the people who have money just simply find a way to live below their means. Let's say right now you're looking for a home and a lender's told you, I'll give you $400,000, which is the price of the average home in America. They say, I'll give you $400,000. Do you know how many people max out that $400,000 loan? Instead of saying to themselves, you know what, I'll look for a home that's $325,000 with a mortgage that's lower so I can comfortably pay my mortgage month to month. So many people will max out what's being offered. And I am telling you right now, if you're looking for a home or in the future you're going to be looking for a home, be very mindful of the mortgage you take on. Be very mindful of it. Because newsflash, if you don't own a home and you didn't know this, when you get a mortgage, when the taxes go up, or if you have PMI, which is insurance on the mortgage, the home, if you have that, given what we're experiencing now with this extreme weather and inflation, that will be increased and your monthly payment will increase. But I just want to say, don't allow yourself to get trapped into this idea of waiting for some type of collapse. But also, this is something that I think needs to be understood, especially if you're an individual and you're, for the most part, it's all on you. You're doing life solo. Don't be afraid. Do not let fear dictate the decisions you make in your life. You must be able to go to sleep at night with a clear mind so you can get your rest and wake up in the morning and do it all over again with gratefulness, with clarity. Don't allow the fear mongering that you hear on social media from your family and your friends control how you think about the future. There's so much opportunity as we move forward. Oftentimes when I talk about financial, economic perspectives on this channel, it is not to get anyone to be fearful. It is simply for you to see what others are really going through in real life and what some are talking about and what we're going through in this country. But I just want to say there's so much opportunity as we move forward. And as long as you have clarity, you will see it and you will be just fine, no matter what happens in the future. Trust in God. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. And as I always say, ladies and gentlemen, until next time.